Do you remember when television had no rush? When commercials didn't try to sell? They made you feel. A time when a simple melody could stay in your head for years. That was the magic of old Indian advertising. Little masterpieces that didn't just promote products but shaped a childhood, a country, an emotion. Back then, Doordarshan set the rhythm of the day. Families gathered in front of the television with the same excitement they had for a film. Ads had a soul. Brands didn't compete to shout louder, they competed to touch hearts. Today, we travel back to that golden era, to moments that smelled of childhood and sounded like jingles, still echoing in our memories. Maggie, Cadbury, Pepsi, Liril, Bajaj, Whirlpool, Dhara, Complan, Ajanta, and Amul. Names that didn't just change the market, they changed generations. Because these commercials weren't breaks between programs. They were fragments of life. Little stories that taught us to dream, to laugh, and to feel proud. Welcome to a journey through the forgotten Indian TV commercials that defined our childhood. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, this video will make you smile. And if you didn't, you'll understand why an entire generation still remembers them with such love. Get ready for a dose of nostalgia, emotion, and pure Indian culture. Let's begin. 1. Maggie. Mummy, I'm hungry. Just one line. Mummy, I'm hungry. And every Indian home paused. A hungry child, a smiling mother, and 2 minutes that changed the rhythm of family life. Maggie wasn't just instant noodles. It was the taste of coming home from school, the warm smell of the kitchen, the comfort between homework and playtime. Its jingle, fast to cook, good to eat, became part of daily language. In a country where mothers still cooked slowly and lovingly, Maggie offered something new, a promise of quick love, warmth, and togetherness, ready in just 2 minutes. Those commercials didn't sell food. They sold the idea that care could also be fast, that modern life and maternal love could fit into one bowl. Every home had that yellow packet, and every child had that joy. Noodles that tasted like freedom, comfort, and childhood itself. Do. Cadbury Dairy Milk. Asli Swad, Zindagi Ka. A cricket field. A woman in her 20s runs across the grass, her chocolate melting, her laughter pure. For a moment, the whole country stopped because something new was happening. The Cadbury Dairy Milk ad changed everything. For the first time, chocolate wasn't just for children. It was for emotion. For grown-ups who still knew how to feel joy. The tagline, Asli Swad Zindagi Ka, the real taste of life, became a philosophy. It told India that pleasure was not childish, it was human. The visuals were simple, but the feeling was profound. No product shots, no aggressive selling, just a celebration of freedom, happiness, and the sweetness of being alive. India's relationship with chocolate transformed that day. It became a symbol of joy, of small rebellions and simple pleasures. Even now, decades later, that melody lingers. Cadbury didn't sell sugar, it sold emotion. And Asli Swad Zindagi Ka became a line etched in the country's collective memory. A reminder that sometimes to feel alive, all you need is one bite of chocolate. 3. Pepsi. Nothing official about it. India, 1996. Cricket was religion, youth was restless, the air buzzed with energy and ambition. And into that world came Pepsi, with mischief, boldness, and rebellion. Their campaign, Nothing Official About It, became more than a slogan. It was a movement. It spoke to a generation that was tired of rules, eager to define its own identity. The ads were cheeky, colorful, full of stars and attitude. Young faces, playful voices, and the pulse of a country ready to break free from the old ways. Pepsi didn't sell a drink. It sold confidence. A smile that said, We don't need permission to be ourselves. It captured the essence of a new India. Urban, loud, free-spirited, and unafraid to laugh at authority. Even the cricket rivalry between Pepsi and Coca-Cola turned into a cultural event. For a few unforgettable years, nothing official about it wasn't just an ad. It was the voice of India's youth, bottled in blue. 4. Bajaj Auto, Buland Barat ki Buland Tasveer. A man stands beside his motorcycle, gazing at the horizon. Behind him, the sun rises slowly over dusty Indian roads and a deep, confident voice speaks. Buland Bharat ki Buland Tasveer, Hamara Bajaj. The strong image of a strong India, our Bajaj. It was not just an ad, it was a heartbeat. When this commercial first aired, India was in the middle of transformation. Young, ambitious, and learning to believe in itself. Bajaj didn't sell metal or horsepower. It sold pride. The motorcycle became a symbol of movement, progress, and masculinity wrapped in responsibility. The images were simple. A father lifting his child onto the seat. A farmer riding through the dawn. A worker returning home with his helmet under his arm. Each frame whispered the same truth. That mobility meant dignity. The music swelled with patriotic warmth. The narrator's voice carried gravitas. For the first time, an advertisement felt like a national anthem for everyday people. Bajaj Auto turned the sound of an engine into the echo of a country moving forward. It wasn't luxury they promised, it was belonging. And long after the commercial stopped airing, that line, Hamara Bajaj, continued to ride through Indian memory like an anthem on two wheels. 5. Liral, the girl under the waterfall. A green dress, a cascade of sparkling water, a girl running, laughing, twirling in the sunlight. The Liral commercial was not about soap, it was about liberation. In an era when television was cautious and conservative, Liral broke every rule. There was no dialogue, no kitchen, no family, only freshness, nature, and a woman unafraid to be free. The jingle, that bright wordless melody, became the sound of joy itself. People whistled it in markets, students hummed it in classrooms, and even grandmothers smiled when they saw the girl dancing under the waterfall. For the first time, freshness wasn't about cleaning, it was about feeling alive. The soap became an icon of youth and sensuality, of a generation daring to breathe. Shot in Kodaikanal, the commercial captured India's imagination. Its visuals were cinematic, its tone was poetic. And the actress, the Liral girl, became a symbol of confidence for millions of Indian women who saw, maybe for the first time, that freedom could be beautiful. The ad sold more than soap. It sold the idea of independence wrapped in foam and sunlight. Even decades later, that melody still falls like cool rain. The sound of a country discovering the thrill of being itself. 6. Whirlpool, Ice Ice Baby. Two children, a kitchen glowing with afternoon light, and a refrigerator that seemed to hum along with them. Ice Ice Baby, they sang, their voices full of innocence and delight. That was the magic of Whirlpool. In the 1990s, when home appliances began entering Indian homes as symbols of modernity, Whirlpool understood something profound. Technology could also feel warm. Their ad didn't show specifications or numbers. It showed a family, laughter, color, curiosity, and two children turning a machine into a friend. The refrigerator wasn't a cold object anymore. It was part of the household rhythm, the keeper of treats, the silent witness of every celebration. The jingle was catchy and sweet, echoing in living rooms across the country. Children repeated it endlessly. Parents smiled, and somewhere deep inside, India associated progress with happiness. Owning a Whirlpool fridge became a small badge of success, proof that the middle class was growing, that the future was knocking gently at the kitchen door. The brand spoke the language of joy and optimism, blending innovation with heart. When you remember that ad today, you don't just recall two kids singing. You recall an entire era when technology first met tenderness and refrigerators began keeping not just food, but memories. 7. Complan. I'm a Complan boy. I'm a Complan girl. A quiet kitchen bathed in golden morning light. Two children stand side by side, holding glasses of milk and smiling with that gentle confidence only innocence can give. Then comes the line that defined a generation. I'm a Complan boy, I'm a Complan girl. No effects, no glamour, just sincerity. That was the strength of Complan. In a time when Indian television was still honest and slow, the ad connected with every home. It wasn't about selling health drinks. It was about showing what every mother wished for her child: growth, strength, and possibility. The children in the ad weren't models. They were reflections of millions of real Indian kids with big dreams and small glasses of warm milk before school. The warmth of the cinematography, the soft jingle, the believable faces, everything said the same thing. This could be you. Complan didn't just build bodies, it built confidence. It turned a drink into an emblem of parental love. And every time that tune played on television, it reminded families that caring for the future could start with something as simple as a cup of milk. Even now, the phrase Complan boy or Complan girl instantly brings back the feeling of the 90s, a time when being healthy meant being hopeful. 8. Dhara, the boy and the jalabis. A boy with a school bag walks slowly toward the bus station. His eyes are downcast. He's running away. Then, from somewhere behind him, the sweet scent of jalebis fills the air. He stops, lifts his head, and hears a gentle voice. Beta, jalebi kha le. His grandfather stands there, smiling with a plate in his hand. And just like that, India melted. The Dhara advertisement became one of the most emotional commercials ever made. It had no celebrity, no glossy production, just warmth, nostalgia, and truth. The oil wasn't the star, love was. It reminded people that home isn't made of bricks, it's made of aromas, memories, and the people who wait for us to come back. The simplicity of that ad, one camera, one story, one emotion, made it unforgettable. When the boy runs back into his grandfather's arms, the entire country saw itself in that hug. Dhara became synonymous with purity and affection. Every bottle of oil carried not just a promise of taste, but a promise of family. Even today, the mention of Dhara jalebi can make eyes glisten. Proof that some emotions never expire. 9. Ajanta clocks. Tick, tick, Ajanta. A grandmother sits knitting by the window. A cuckoo clock chirps, a boy laughs. The melody begins. Tick, 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 Ajanta. Ajanta clocks turned something as ordinary as time into something joyful. Its ad was playful, simple, and filled with domestic charm. Unlike today's fast-paced commercials, this one took its time, letting each second breathe. It showed families laughing, clocks dancing, and time itself as a friend. The jingle, with its rhythmic ticking, felt like the soundtrack of Indian homes. For a generation, Ajanta wasn't just a brand, it was a sound. The chirp of the cuckoo, the hum of the pendulum, the cheerful tune, all reminded people that even time could have personality. The secret was authenticity. Audiences didn't see actors, they saw themselves. Their grandparents, their walls, their living rooms. That sense of recognition turned a humble clock company into a household name. Every tick was a memory, and every home that owned an Ajanta clock carried a little heartbeat of Indian nostalgia on its wall. 10. Amul, the eternal ad of India. There isn't just one Amul ad. There's an entire history. A living chronicle drawn in butter and laughter. That's why we end here. Because Amul isn't a campaign, it's a conversation. For over half a century, Amul has talked to India like an old friend. Honest, witty, and always with heart. From billboards to TV screens, Amul became the voice of the nation. Commenting on politics, sports, cinema, and everyday life with humor and warmth. Its cartoon mascot, the Amul girl, turned into a storyteller of India itself. Each new illustration captured the pulse of the country. Sometimes teasing, sometimes comforting, always human. But Amul's TV commercials were just as iconic. Short, joyful, full of melody and laughter. They celebrated morning toast, family breakfasts, and the simple joy of sharing. The jingles felt like nursery rhymes, the visuals like home videos. Amul didn't scream for attention. It smiled for connection. It never chased trends. It became one. In a world where ads fade every week, Amul endured. Not because it was louder, but because it was true. The brand didn't sell butter. It sold belonging to a nation, a family, a feeling. For millions, that red and white logo is not packaging. It's memory. It's the smell of toast at dawn, the laughter of siblings at breakfast, the warmth of a life shared. And that's why Amul closes our journey. Because its story sums up what made those old Indian commercials unforgettable: heart, creativity, and sincerity. They didn't interrupt life. They were part of life. They didn't just advertise, they inspired. So if this journey made you smile, if one of these jingles played again in your mind, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments, which of these ads shaped your childhood? Which one do you still hum today? Because nostalgia never dies. And the story of Indian advertising is still being written, one heartbeat at a time.